got Randall on the screen. We also have
hello, YouTube.
Eric Cruz.
Hola, what's going on?
So today is another special day, right? We got Randall cooking again. This time something a little bit different on the dessert end with the Back Eddy style apple crisp. Can I say that? Am I saying that right, Randall?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pretty standard recipe across the board.
I think you mispronounced apple. I think it's questionable. Go ahead, Randall. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Pretty standard recipe. We've been doing the same for quite a while. Really versatile. You can use really all kinds of fruit besides apples for this. You can mix other fruits with your apples. But we're going to do just straight up old-fashioned apple crisp. It's actually really pretty simple recipe. I mean, if you make this 3 times, you could make a crisp with anything. It's really, I'd say the challenging part is getting the crisp topping right. Other than that, you're just chopping fruit or putting fruit in a bowl with some sugar. That's it. Yeah, I prepped most of my stuff, but we'll just do one apple together. I mean, again, you really can't mess this up too much. See, adjust this here. We're just gonna peel an apple.
Okay, and what kind of apple are those, Randall?
We have Gala apples in right now. Most of the time for baking, Granny Smiths are, really awesome. You can use a wide variety of apples, really. Anything that's a little tart and will hold up to baking for a while.
Yeah, a little tart, a little meatier, actually.
Yeah, Macintosh will work fine. Even like
pies, little granny and Macintosh, little 50-50.
Yeah, that's a pretty standard mix, actually. We actually got a case of Gala just because sometimes the Granny Smiths are actually a little expensive.
Oh yeah, the Granny Smiths are my go-to for just eating an apple, but
yeah.
But yeah, here we go. Just peel the apple, nothing special. And then cutting it, you have a few different options. I got a big knife today. Here you go. Boom. But I'll just show you how we do. It's pretty simple. We're just gonna quarter this thing. I'm left with a square core. I mean, you can use a core if you really want, but just cut down the sides 4 times. And now you're left with a bunch of these half moon looking pieces here. You can in the recipe, you can chop it, make cubes. But I really like just keeping this shape. I'll show you what I mean in just a second here. This is what we got. Oh, got some half moons here, some crescents. I'd say, they're like 1/4 inch to 3/8 inches thick. You can do them a little thinner if you want. I like them a little thick because, they're going to be in the oven for about, 30 minutes. I like it so there's like a little bite left after you cook it all. If it's thin, it's just going to really it's really just going to cook all out into just, not mush, but there's not much of a bite left to it if you cut them real thin. So I'll finish chopping these real quick.
All right, so for this, the cooking tools you need are the food processor, 13 by 9 inch baking pan, large mixing bowl, cutting board, a knife, vegetable peeler, as you showed earlier, measuring cups, and measuring spoons.
Yeah, so the food processor is the only one that's, not everyone has, but a lot of people have them. I mean, you could use a blender if you really wanted to. You could even mix the crisp topping by hand. You would kind of do it as if you were making like a pie crust, where you just kind of put the ingredients together and you're slowly going to massage the butter into the sugar and the oats until you get like a crumbly mix. But I mean, food processor is the way to go when you're making a lot of them. So yeah, let me grab you the measuring spoons.
It is so bloody hot right now.
So I had already put them away, but measuring spoons, measuring cups, pretty standard stuff. I already had everything pre-measured out for the video. So here we go. Have all the apples. There's 13 apples right there. And I'll show you the pan we're going to use. It's going to be a little different than what people might have at home. I like to use these aluminum throwaways. This is a half pan size, a half hotel pan. But this is actually, this holds the same volume as a 13x9 baking pan that's standard for at-home cooking. You could, if you want to make a smaller batch, you could scale this down in half and put it in an 8x8 baking pan. You can even use a cast iron pan that works great for making crisp. So that's that. And also, I would recommend, you'll see later, if you do end up using one of these, say you're going to, a birthday party, Christmas party or something, and you don't want to bring Tupperware or casserole dish with you, what we do is we put them on a baking sheet pan. Because what happens is when this is hot and gooey, it gets really flimsy. If you have a nice setup like this, in and out of the oven. All right, so real quick, we'll mix up the fruit. We got our apples here. All right, so I already have it pre-measured out. Got 1 cup of granulated white sugar. Pretty standard stuff. Some recipes you don't put the cinnamon in the apples, but I like to add a little bit of cinnamon, just a teaspoon there. There's going to be more of the baking spices in the crisp topping. And lastly, for the fruit mix, we have a 1/4 cup of fresh squeezed lemon juice.
Now, what does the lemon juice do?
It kind of balances the flavor a little bit, gives it a little bit of liquid to mix the sugar up. And it'll help. I mean, also acid will keep the apples from turning brown on you, but it's not that necessary here. But it's really just for balancing the sweetness a little bit and helping bring the sugar and juices together. So now we're gonna mix it all together. So here we go. Sugar, cinnamon, lemon juice. I'm just gonna mix this together until everything kind of comes together a bit here.
Do you already have a crisp in the oven or no?
I don't, but I should be able to get this one in and out before the end of the video for sure.
30 minutes, you think? Yeah.
Yeah. And like this part takes 2 seconds.
Randall, I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever actually brought an apple crisp to a birthday party?
Yeah, that was really silly, huh? I don't know what I was. I was trying to think. It was like a potluck. I think that's what I was trying to go for first.
Give you the Christmas. Thanksgiving would have been a decent toss out. Maybe Thanksgiving.
See, that's why there's more than one of us here.
You went with a birthday.
Well, you know what? It could happen now. It could happen.
I mean, I love apple crisp. If you showed up at my birthday party with an apple crisp, I'd be pumped. It'd be delicious.
Hey, for my birthday, I like tiramisu. So.
all right. I got you. Look, I got your little tiramisu.
All right, so real quick, I'll show you this. This is, I mean, it just looks like kind of hard to tell here, but you can kind of see the sugar and the juices glisten a little bit over the apples, so it's mixed up there. And what's going to happen after that sits for a little bit, the juices from the apple are going to start to expel a little bit, and it's kind of going to make its own syrup sitting there. So that's the fruit. You can literally use, we've actually been doing a mix of apples and berries, like strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. Oh, yeah. You could do a berry crisp. You could use just berries, a mix of anything you want. Also, using frozen fruit is fair game. You can get a bag of frozen fruit, and just add the sugar, lemon juice, and then you don't even have to cut anything. It's great.
I mean, we're a mass. I mean, apple crisp is like super standard.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it's crisp, but like peach crisp, like a peach cobbler peach crisp. That was really good.
Yeah, crisp is just like, crisp, cobbler. They're kind of just variations of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
You
gonna
can do
say,
crisp.
aren't they the same? Like just name wise, they can be used interchangeably. Apple cobbler, apple crisp. But
I mean, just like blueberry crisp, when you have like fresh in season blueberries up
Yeah.
here is like, oh man, blueberry wicked good.
And it's kind of funny because like some of the frozen fruit you buy is actually higher quality than some of the stuff you buy fresh. Like when you don't always see it in the store as much, but like commercially, it's called IQF, which is, I believe, instant quality fresh. Basically, what it is, it's picked fresh, like at the height of its season, and then it's frozen instantly. It's the same process they use for a lot of seafood and especially scallops on the boat.
oh, kind of like the flash
Um,
Well, you see it
freezing.
with the
yeah, flash freezing, yeah.
Well, I was gonna
Um,
say you see it with some of the other blueberry, like when it's picked and it's there, like they're not always that amazing quality and stuff. Whereas like a bag of frozen blueberries, like they'll pick them when they're actually just right because they know they're freezing them.
Mm.
So like
yeah,
they're not trying to pick any of like the slightly almost sort of ripe ones. Like they're only picking like right then and there
yeah,
because they're freezing them. So
Mm.
yeah, like
it's a good product. But yeah, if you were using frozen fruit for this, you could put this thing together in no time. So real quick, we're gonna move on to the crisp topping. 1 second here. All right, so here we have our food processor. In the kitchen world, this is a pretty standard unit. It's called a Robo Coop. You got on, off, oats.
it's
A Robo
not
Coop.
it's not RoboCop. It's a
No,
RoboCoop.
no, it's Robo Chef.
Sorry, when you said Robo Coop was like the first thing that came up to my head was Murphy.
I'll show you real quick. It's got a standard blade, like any food processor.
Yeah.
These machines are like worth every penny in the kitchen. They like about $1,000 unit, but it's like having an extra employee in the kitchen, without a doubt.
Mm.
All right, so the crisp topping. I have all the ingredients measured out already. Well, let me see. Oh, butter's in the cooler. So we got
butter,
a half pound of butter. So a half pound of butter is about 2 sticks when you buy them in the box that come in sticks. So I just cubed it up. Again, this doesn't have to be anything specific, just chopped up rough as long as it's cold into the food processor.
No. Why do you want them cold? Is it because they heat up when they're being cut inside there, or?
Yeah, even being in a processor, it's going to warm it up a little bit, and you want the butter to melt while it's cooking, and you don't want the butter to melt before it's in the oven, because then what happens is you're not going to get a uniform crisp on top, because all the butter will melt out first, and it won't mix with the sugar and the flour to make a nice solid crisp topping. The butter will melt first, and then you'll just be left with sugar and flour on top.
Mm.
So that's not what. Then it won't be a crisp. It will not be crispy. So even like pie making, you need cold butter. All right. So we have our half pound of butter in there. Next, we will put our 1.5 cups of flour, just regular unbleached all-purpose.
Now, is the butter salted or unsalted?
It doesn't matter. We have salted. A lot of baking recipes call for unsalted, but it really makes no difference. I mean, it's nice to have a little bit of salt while you're baking. Either one's fine. All right. Now we have 2 cups of light brown sugar. All standard stuff here. And then we have a tablespoon of cinnamon. And if you want, you can add other baking spices. If you got some nutmeg. Actually, no, I'll get some nutmeg.
Improvising, I love it. Toppings: 2 cups light brown sugar, 1.5 cup oats, 1.5 cups flour, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, half a pound or 2 sticks of cold butter. And he is adding nutmeg.
All right, I'm back. So we got whole nutmeg here. You can use. Here we go. It's like a brain. You can use powdered nutmeg. Just to, not even just a pinch would be fine. A little bit of allspice would be fine. If you had a little bit of ground up clove. So this here is called a microplane. More and more people are aware of what these are. A lot of kitchens have them. So basically what it is, it's a mini grater, but it creates a really nice powder. So I'll try to I'm going to put some in here real quick. Probably going to put like a quarter teaspoon of this in here. I mean, fresh nutmeg's always the best way to go.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about like how the aroma is once you start like skimming it with that.
Oh, it's great. It's great. So I'm going to grate some in a little bowl to show you what it looks like. All right, so hopefully we can see this here.
Yeah.
That's what's going to turn into some like nice, fresh, grated nutmeg there. So add that. And it looks pretty cool after you grate it. Kind of cool looking.
Wow.
All right, so that's that. All right, so we're gonna put our cover on. So we're only gonna use the pulse function. So we're gonna pulse it 4 to 5 times at about 4 to 5 seconds each.
Mm.
You got
No, that must smell really good as it's mixing in there.
it gets there. It's better when it gets out of the oven. All right. So put a glove on real quick. So let's see. We do this here. All right. So we kind of got this like sandy mix here. So all of our flour, sugar is incorporated, spices, and you can see right here. These are these little chunks of butter. So it's like small pebbles in the sand.
Mm.
So this is gonna, once it heats up, it's gonna distribute nice and evenly with all the other mixes. So that's good right there. You wouldn't really want to pulse it anymore. You don't want to get the butter too small.
I was getting my potatoes out of the oven. Did you already put the oats in? Did you pulse it with the oats?
No, you actually pulse the butter, sugar, flour, spices first.
Yes. Are you just hand mixing in the oats?
So we're gonna pulse. I'm gonna throw them in now. If you put them in that first round, they're gonna turn into nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really wanted to, you could like leave them really whole. So that's a cup and a half of oats there, just regular Quaker oats. The recipe says pulse it 4 to 5 times at 1 second each. I mean, if you want a little chunky, just pulse it 2 times real quick. So we'll do that real quick. And this is just really mixing it, maybe crushing it a little bit.
So you're trying to retain the most of the oat shape. That's why you add it later.
A little, yeah, some of it. So we'll leave it right there. So that was 3 pulses at 1 second each. And now this is what we have. I think you can see that a little bit. We got a pretty nice mix in here.
Now,
Right.
at a person's house, their mixer would be a lot different. It'd be more like kind of, the blades would kind of be a little bit more vertical than that one. Does that make a difference of what type of mixer, how well you pulse the stuff, Randall?
No, I would say it's pretty standard for any food processor for this recipe.
Little Cuisinarts, they're all like that. They're all the flat blades.
Oh, okay.
If anything, I would say using this piece of equipment, because it's so strong and heavy duty, sometimes doing this, I find that it gets a little over processed. So a home unit would actually probably make it a little chunkier and probably. I mean, this is perfect, but sometimes I like it like the butter chunks be a little bigger.
Yeah, it'll keep it a little more. Your home, like just regular Cuisinart, will keep it a little more rustic. It's not gonna destroy it like that Robo Coupe.
Robocop.
Yeah, no, that thing would fucking turn that into a powder. in like
Yeah.
2 seconds.
All right, so I'm gonna put this in a container real quick. You can just pop this whole, I'll just put the whole thing in the fridge. I have a fridge underneath. All right, so we're all set with the food processor. So really now we're gonna put it all together now. So that's it. That's all the prep right there. This guy out of my way.
And just out of curiosity, with that many apples, was it 13 apples?
Yep.
How many servings can you get out of that?
Oh, this would serve like 8 people. I mean, a 19. So this is a slightly different dimension, but very close to a 9x13 pan. Same volume though. It's just the dimensions are a little
What are you
different.
gonna cut it 2x3?
Crisp isn't like it. You're never gonna get a pretty cut. You actually kind of just scoop it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
kind of like cobbler. It's
Yeah.
a scoop more than a cut.
Well, it's kind of interesting because I mean, with that size dish, it seems like the portions are going to be very large. You said 8 for those 13 apples.
Also, well, you'll be so you're gonna see this pan full of apples before it goes in the oven. But once it comes out, once it comes out of the oven, it's gonna shrunken down some, and then once it cools, it shrinks down in like half. So it turns into a nice condensed, yummy, sugary mess. So there we go. Here's our pan. Let's see if I can do this so everyone can see here. All right, here's a pan. Got our apples. I'm just gonna toss the apples one more time real quick. So, actually, I'm actually gonna pull them out by hand, put them in here. So I want to show you all the juices that are at the bottom here. And and just slightly disperse it evenly in the pan.
Oh yeah, wow! It really takes up the whole pan.
Oh yeah, no, this is good. You really want the pan to be like filled just to the brim here. So yeah, this would easily serve like 8 to 10 people. Now hopefully you can see and get it without spilling it. So that's all the liquid that started coming out together, the spices, the sugar. And this part you just want to go right over everything. So real quickly, I'm just going to evenly distribute it. Is that? All right. So since my butter was already cold for my crisp topping, I can go right to it. I'm taking the blade out of my processor here. Hold on 1 second. And I like to use I have this half cup measuring cup here. I like to use to spread the topping on. But you can do it by hand. Just gonna add all this here.
Just trying to like even it out throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. And don't pour it all on top because sometimes you might have more than you need.
So what do you do with extra? You just hold it for the next time, or would
You
you
could.
just eat it from the container?
Yeah, I mean, you could put this on top of ice cream if you want, really. Or you can bake it and turn it into crumble. I mean, it'll basically turn into nice crispy nuggets here.
So how much coverage on the top are you looking for? So none of the apples are exposed, or?
I mean, if a couple are poking out, that's fine. But I mean, we got like, I don't know, maybe like a 1/4 inch covering around all of this right now.
I don't know. Yeah, I actually like kind of a thick crumble on top of my crisps.
Mm.
And like I said, it all comes together, and it's it gets dense, even the topping. So I think I'm going to stop there. I do have about a cup of crisp topping left over. The recipe I used might have been for a different size pan. I'll put a little extra for fun.
There you go. I like it.
There you go. I'm going to clean my pan off a little bit here. So again, I'm using a baking sheet pan just because these aluminum throwaways, after you take it out of the oven, they get a little flimsy. All right, so you guys can see that pretty good. I'm going to toss this in the oven now.
That thing would like fold in half when you took it out of the oven.
Yeah.
When it was super hot.
So I'll go to the oven. There you go. Boom, right in the oven, right in the middle rack there. So over here, I have the oven at 350. The recipe says 375. It's a convection oven, so with the fan working, it definitely going to cook things a little bit faster. But at home, I'd use 375. Or
how long in that convection oven?
I'm going to check it in 30 minutes.
Yeah, 30 minutes at home for apple crisp is pretty quick.
Yeah. So at 375, 30 minutes, check it. It'll probably use maybe another 5 after that. Sometimes you could, if you want, after 30 minutes, you could crank it up to like 400 if you want to brown the top a little bit more. But it should come out spot on, really, without having to do that. So now this is just the waiting part. So 6:30, yeah, this thing will be ready to come out of the oven right when we're done here. So any questions from you guys?
No, I mean it looks very standard as far as, or very simple, which is always a good thing. It doesn't have to be too complicated sometimes to have a really good meal. And so are you guys going to be serving that later in the week?
We've actually had crisp on every week. Actually, I'll show you one second. I'll show you one done. So this is a leftover from this past weekend. So we've been doing them in these quarter pans here, which serves, like 2 to 3, no problem. But as you can tell, this thing was chock full of apples, just like this. And after baking, it's, reduced by almost half there.
So it loses a lot of water, right?
Okay, you're selling that as like a double serving to go?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you can eat the whole thing if you want to.
You're not scooping that out into another container. You're selling that as is, right?
Yeah, and then we have some, just like that. We get some plastic lids for it. And then, a nice little package. And then when you get it home, pop it in the oven. Whenever you want to eat it, pop it in the oven for like, 8 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah,
that's it.
Nothing at all. 5 minutes, just to get it warm.
Yeah, and we usually, we make them on Friday and Saturday, so they're fresh when you buy them. So they'll still be a little warm. So yeah.
So what's this batch for?
Just for this.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool, Randall. Thank you very much.
I'm sure I'll find someone that'll take it.
Yeah.
Or we'll eat it for lunch one day or something.
It's gonna be for dinner.
But always recommend serving this with some ice cream or some whipped cream.
Some whipped.
Obviously, is always best.
Well, definitely thank Sal for letting us be able to do this and make the apple crisp at the restaurant for not for like a menu thing, but just to make it. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I'm not that far away. I might go pick up some apple crisp. I think I might be able to almost be there before it's done.
Yeah.
That'd actually be pretty funny if you did that. Like, hey, what's up?
If I showed up in Randall's video in a couple minutes.
Dude, that'd be hilarious. Dude, that'd be awesome.
Oh man. How far away are you from Westport in that part of Rhode Island?
I'm a ways because I'm up north of Prov. Yeah, so come down.
least
So
40 minutes.
I would say down to you guys in Westport there, it's probably about the same as like getting into like New Bedford over near, you know, Kuya, the Skypex and them. So it would probably take me like 50 minutes of like going a little quick to get down to you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit of a hike.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so I'm just gonna put my dishes away real quick. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, of course.
So do anything good for the weekend, dude?
Me, no, I was super lazy this weekend. It's starting to get nicer out and stuff. But this home confinement's got me in a real rut, just killing me. But I'm feeling positive about the chiropractor. So I did notice. I think like I use a different area. Like I use like my dining room area, which is where I am now for work from home work. But then my like personal computer and stuff for I'm just messing around or doing other stuff on the side upstairs is I don't know, I think that chair is giving me a little bit of grief too. I don't think that's helping the situation. So I think I got to definitely go and look for a newer, more ergonomic chair because that thing I've had for like 10 years and it's got to be messed up at this point. Like but I'm hoping you know, a few more sessions, him keep cracking me and put me back into position. I'll be at 100% because I've been that leg and hips been bothering me. Jeez, I don't know, like a year and a half now.
Yeah.
It's a little annoying. Like your hip can stop hurting like every day. Gets a little old.
Yeah. No, sometimes those are the toughest ones because we don't think about it much, but we're on our, you know, we might be on our feet or walking around, need it for a lot of stuff, and then, you know, once we have problems, all of a sudden, it's like consistent.
Oh yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's just one of those. It's been a pain to get rid of.
Yeah.
You know, even so. He was saying he seemed very positive about it. And the pain of where it is kind of shifting. When I talked to him today, he's like, yeah, that's actually what we expect because he's trying, you know, as you're like readjusting it, you should like start shifting. So it's a lot less on the outside now. I started to shift more towards the middle. And he was like, oh, that's good. That's what we're looking for. So I was like, all right, nice. Perfect. I'll be back on Friday. And he was wicked. He was a wicked cool guy, actually. And my regular doctor, like I told you, had like kept pushing stuff out. Was like, oh, you know, March, April. All right. Oh, how does August sound? You know, just kept rolling me out because of COVID. And I called him. And he was like, oh yeah, how's next week sound? I was like, you're the greatest. Like, why are these other people? Because it's not like I'm going to like, you know, some random thing. It's not like I'm going to some completely non-essential thing. Like, okay, you know what? If you want to shut some stuff down, do people need like non-medical breast implants right now? No. Like, okay, you want to like call it on that? Sure. Whatever. We'll put a hold on that. But I'm going to see an orthopedic about like an ongoing hip issue. Like, how is that not semi-essential that you're going to roll stuff out? It's a little crazy.
Yeah. I don't get how they're categorizing what's essential and what's not essential, and it's just very bizarre how everything is categorized and how they're
orthopedic pain.
Yeah,
from a doctor in my book is essential. Like, what's the issue?
Yeah,
I'm gonna come in. What's the deal? Yeah, no, this guy, he was great. He's like, all right, yep, let's go. Brought me right in, no issue. It's actually super close, right down the road. So I just head over there. So it's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, if you're back and you're looking for a guy, he's real cool. I don't know if you have you ever had those pulse things at the chiropractor or anything? They like put the pulse, like the electric things on you to stimulate like the muscles.
Oh, cool. Damn.
Oh, it's crazy. Like they crank it up and like it's like like the muscle starts like going. And like you just tell them because you just want like a really strong kind of pulse.
Yeah.
But you can feel it, like if they kept cranking up, it would be like
Flexing.
Oh, flexing. Yeah, and I got these two electrodes. They're both stuck to like honestly, they're both stuck to like right above my like butt cheeks, like right there, because they're on my lower back there. So it's like clenching.
Like, don't drop the soap.
Oh God.
So what about you, Randall? How was your weekend?
Oh, it was pretty much here. Well, what did I do yesterday? Yesterday I went to my mom's, did some laundry. I don't know. I think I kind of stayed up late Saturday. I did the same thing last night. I got home from my mom's at like 11:30. Put some TV on and like
4 in
you
the
know
morning.
yeah, it was like 4:30 and I'm like, oh
Like,
shit,
why?
crap.
Yeah, why am I
Like,
still watching this show like it's worth anything right
yeah,
now? Yeah.
like I
And
just don't, at least like when you're like working and stuff, you have a sense of like, all right, ooh, I'm like, oh, it must be late by now, or it's got to be late, or I'm like, have like no sense of that.
I'll be up super late tonight because legitimately I just got to get up and like come downstairs. Okay,
Yeah.
you can like you can really achieve that really easy.
Like my
So-
girlfriend Amber, I wake up in the morning and she's awake. I'm like, did you sleep? She's like, no.
Is she still? What's she doing right now? Is she still work? Is she at what is she doing?
No, she's just at home. She's a bartender and a server.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's what I thought. So she's just waiting to see the stuff open back up and everything. Yeah.
But she hustled. She worked like 80 hours a week for the last year and a half. So it really helped when it came to unemployment time. So
Nice.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
even then, that really that kind of sucks too. It's like
Oh, it's terrible.
here's a hard worker, wants to work, can't work.
yeah,
That's the kind of tough part. But it's good that she that she prepped. But it's
yeah, it was good. So she was able to save a lot, and because she took in so much income, her unemployment's pretty high.
Yeah. Well, my big thing is like, why is there like little towns in like I probably said this. Why is there like little towns in like North Dakota that are like shut down? Like why? Like nobody's there. It's just the locals. There's nothing there. Like why
Right.
couldn't they be open, just doing their normal stuff?
Yeah,
Which, assuming some of them probably are at this point.
yeah. Unless I mean, like a town like Westport, like all the summer renters, they came early. They came as soon as this stuff was going down, and like usually there's like waves of summer renters, and all the rental properties are all booked up for the summer, like since last year.
Oh yeah.
Like, the
Wow.
entire summer's been booked already.
Ha, nice.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, it's actually safer to be in a more localized, spread out area than it is to be in the larger cities, because that's where
Right.
where it's
And
hit
that's
the
where a
hardest.
lot, the people with all the money, they're from the big cities, so that's exactly what they're thinking. And they can afford not to work all summer because they are here all summer.
Taking a quick sabbatical.
Oh man, they do it every year. It must be great. But that's all right. They spend their money every summer so that I get 3 months off in the winter. So it's not so bad.
Yeah,
Oh,
I guess
no
that's a
complaints on that, right?
good trade-off.
Wow.
Yeah, my weekend wasn't too crazy. Walked from Bayanito, where the apartment is, to Sophia's parents' house. So we're actually here right now. And like, remember before the past few episodes, I was talking about like, oh, Sophia stayed over her parents' house. Well, she came back. We waited a couple of weeks, and no one got sick. Everyone's healthy. And so she asked me, she's like, oh, is it a good idea if we can go over to the parents' house? I was like, yeah, why not? So we went over last weekend, and then this weekend, we're staying over from Sunday to tomorrow. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, it's a nice little break. I ended up getting sunburned though from walking 40 minutes. Dude, the sun
Oh,
is.
you guys, I got something cool to show you guys. This is pretty cool. Let's see. This came in the other day.
Oh,
You guys see that?
Yeah.
Is that like a double? Is that like a double claw?
It's a double claw. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, poor little guy. I bet he got made fun of by all the other lobsters.
It was funny. I sent a picture of that to our lobster guy, and he sent me a bunch of other weird photos.
Yeah, you sent he's like, oh, where'd you catch this? Off of the coast next to the reactor plants? What is going on here, my friends? Seems a little suspicious.
Yeah, lobsters are weird.
Well, if you chop off a lobster's leg, it'll grow back. Kind of like
Oh
like a lizard.
my god! We buy a lot of what's called cull lobsters, cull. So those are basically like all seconds. They're like either missing a claw, missing a leg, or
Well, you making like baked stuffed lobster, so it doesn't even matter a lot of times, right?
Well, usually for those, it's like you cook them to pick the meat, like for lobster salad.
Lobster salad, lobster rolls, different. Like, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, because they're usually like 40% cheaper when you buy those. But it's kind of funny because like when you get them and there'll be like a leg or something's missing, but then like it has the regrowth.
The little guy.
Yeah, it's got a little T-Rex arm.
When it's like starting to regrow itself. It's so bizarre. And it's all soft and weird feeling. Oh, it's so weird.
It's the most tender meat right there. It's a delicacy.
Yeah.
The sweetest part.
Yeah, I only eat the little regrowing arms. That's the only ones.
I wonder if they fuse like the DNA of a lobster with a human so that the human can grow back. Kind of like the Marvel Lizard Man or something.
They use a lot of the horseshoe crabs for stuff.
Yeah.
Horseshoe crabs for like a ton of different things because is it the horseshoe crab that like actually technically lives forever? It doesn't die. It can't die naturally. I might have just made that up, but I'm going with it.
No, it's kind of weird because you definitely don't see as many horseshoe crabs.
Do horses live? No, they don't live long enough. They go to the glue factory.
And you guys ever use horse glue?
No, that's terrible. Oh, no, I'm completely full of it. I made that up. Horseshoe crabs only live 20 years, so you can disregard that.
But they do use them for a lot of like pharmaceutical stuff.
I'm invested in some. I obviously should reconsider because I don't know anything.
Oh man! Hey, you guys see the indexes today or what? Holy cow!
Yeah, it's all fake.
Yeah.
Like, how is all this rebound? Where's all this money coming from? When there's like 30 million unemployed people. This is such a fake prop up, but kudos, well done.
Yeah. I mean, we're not complaining. Although I did have a
but when it falls back out, you're just gonna still lose the money. Like this isn't done on like actual revenue growth or anything.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I read a report by I think like Goldman Sachs, and they're basically using earnings projections for like 2023 starting now.
Yeah, they're just guessing because I'm assuming that they probably did some pullout. They were liquid. They were doing their normal dollar cost averaging, and then we're like, oh, hold up. But they need to, when you're Goldman Sachs and other people, they can't just have money sitting. Like that money needs to be invested. So they're gonna buy no matter what. Like you can't just have it not invested somewhere. Like, what'd you guys do with our portfolio this year? Like, oh, we just kept it cash.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
I guess you can do that if you're Warren Buffett, though, because that's all he's been doing.
He sold a lot of Goldman Sachs. So.
Yeah. I read his 13F the other day. I don't even think he bought. I don't think he added anything.
No, I think he's sitting on hordes of cash right now. Which speaking about, so Unreal Engine came out with a video for Unreal Engine 5. So they're no longer they have Unreal Engine 4, and they did a demo on the PlayStation 5. And this will get into the stock market stuff in a moment. So anyway, it looked super impressive. It was basically, to sum it all up, it was global illumination, so you can create real lighting, and also essentially almost infinite amounts of polygons on the screen, and do all these like fancy techniques. So you don't have to like optimize development so that it can work on a like a PlayStation, stuff like that. One of the interesting things that I was looking at was the hardware, and I didn't know this before because I wasn't paying too much attention to it. But Brandon ended up sending me the specs for PlayStation 5. Dude, all their parts are AMD chips.
Oh,
And
yeah.
here's the funny thing: the new Xbox system, exact same thing. So their processor, their graphics card, and the flash memory is all AMD. And I thought that was kind of interesting. So I told all the gamer friends, I was like, hey, like this is a very kind of interesting thing that I wasn't aware of. So I looked it up, and I was looking up some of the financials and the reporting for AMD. Doesn't look like it showed up anywhere. As far as book sales for next year or
Mhm.
committed equipment. All it had in their report was that they have the contract with Microsoft and Sony for the new system. And
Yeah.
based on my evaluation, the Xbox and the Sony, the new ones coming out this year, is equivalent to like a $1,200 to $2,000 computer. Like if you were to like straight up buy consumer graphics cards, motherboard, processor, and stuff that they're using. So I told the the group, I was like, hey, if you guys are interested, this might be another angle to look at video games where these new systems all have AMD. So whether or not it shows up on their books right away or they're waiting until sales actually hit, um, there's actually going to be some pretty good development there as far as AMD's growth. I mean, right now they're like a $60 billion company, much smaller comparatively to like Intel, which is like 200 billion, and Nvidia, which is also 200 billion. But
You want
regardless,
to hear something? You want to hear something gross? Like when I was first starting investing years back, I was in Nvidia for well under $30 a share.
woo, dude,
Yeah, I haven't had those though for like a million years.
it's like $400 now.
I know. It kills me every time I look at it.
Woo, damn,
That's
dude.
But it just solidifies that I'm on the right path with things. I just gotta be more patient.
Well, I'm giving you the hot tip right now. Um, like I said, based on what I've seen, it's obvious that Microsoft and Sony are going to get a discount, but you figure on a lower margin, high volume rate, they make their money back. There are some caveats though, because the report was saying that they were going to default on some of their revolving credit loans. So how they manage that is a whole other thing. But as a company, they're doing really well. Like as far as getting uh, consumers to buy their stuff. Like even it shows up on their Steam reports. So so Steam has this like analysis report that they provide to the public to show, what type of graphics cards people are using, what type of processors, how many cores, and it tells you what brand. And for the longest time, AMD was not on the boards. Now they're like 14%, 15%. So again, that's just on one platform like Steam, which is like a huge gaming platform. So imagine the next round of gaming systems that are going to be coming out, um, that all have the AMD processors. Um, I think their outlook moving forward, and even Nvidia's. I was watching a thing the other day about Nvidia's data center towers. They're like, oh, one warehouse that houses 10 million servers can be replaced with one rack for like $1 million. And they have this fucking excuse my French there. They have this one graphics card that's is like I don't know any of the technical specs, but apparently it's supposed to be like really good. But it's crazy. It's crazy how those companies have been moving. And
Yeah.
the only thing I don't like about AMD though is that also is their PE ratio is really high. It's over 100. So it's, take it for what it is. Like I said, you got quite a bit of downsides, but there's a lot of upside too, kind of down the road.
Yeah. But
So,
I feel like that's, with tech stocks now, it doesn't matter. It's like it doesn't matter.
I mean, it does. I mean, because you look at it. So the thing about that is, like, you look at it. So when they do have some dry times, their PE is so bad because I'm assuming, without digging into it, that they have to be spending a foolish amount of money on research and development to keep up.
oh yeah, it's their, like, on top of everything else, their research and development is extremely high comparatively to everything.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the PE. I mean, it's just business. Like, a bad PE just means it's tough to sustain that. I mean, they are right now, but long term, over and over and over, that's tough to keep up. Eventually, that doesn't sustain.
Yeah, like that's the biggest risk, is that a lot of times any company, a lot of companies with very high PEs, if the market,
we're not retiring tomorrow. 15 years from now, like, that AMD could be completely downtrodden because they couldn't sustain that.
yeah, like I said, they're going to be defaulting, or already have defaulted on one of their revolving credit loans. So, like I said, so there's a little bit of risk reward. I was doing a little bit of swing trading, and had, success between 30-40% at any
Sure.
given time. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things where, like I said, just future outlook for the holiday season, with with the systems coming out, and Unreal Engine, coming out with this demo, and seriously, it's super impressive. Like, I was actually kind of surprised. Like, some friends who watched it, maybe because I'm working on Unreal Engine, so I have familiarity with, like, some of the technical graphical issues. But I was like, graphically, it's absolutely insane what they're doing. I was talking to so I'm actually developing a game with a guy in Czech Republic. So we were talking about, what type of implications we'll have with how games develop, and essentially what they're doing is they're reducing they're cutting down on the processes to make stuff. So like for games, what they do, is what artists do is that they make a model that has high fidelity polygons and stuff like that, and textures. But as it gets farther away from the camera, it reduces the polygon. So a lot of times artists will make different. They're called LODs, level of detail. So as you get farther away, the polygon count starts to decrease. With this new system that Unreal's proposing, is that you don't need to do that, and there's no loading time between levels, because, and that has a lot to do with the hardware. So they're using, so one of the interesting, so when I was looking at the hardware stuff, they're like, oh, they're using M.2 NVMEs, and a real M.2 slot connects to a PCIe, which is connected to the graphics card. So it's a much faster bus compared to a SATA. And I was explaining to my friends, like, dude, like, this is like, when an M.2 memory, a flash memory, is fake when it connects to SATA, because that's the standard buses for hard drives, right? But this one connects to the PCIe, like times 4, whatever that means. So it's supposed to be a faster transfer rate. So when I was reading this, I'm like, dude, this is way different. Like, when I actually tried to make a version of a PlayStation 5 and Xbox, on PC Part Picker, just to see if I could make it. And it's like, oh no, this is like a $1,200, $2,000 computer, but it's strictly for gaming. So it's going to be, way more optimized for that. And then again, to top it off, it's like, oh, it's going to have AMD, AMD parts. So they have the processor, the graphics card, and the flash memory. Samsung makes the memory cards, but I guess there's AMD components inside the flash memory.
So you're saying is it mostly AMD or NVIDIA or both?
No, it's just AMD. It's no Intel,
Oh,
it's no NVIDIA. It's really crazy. Like I said, and AMD has it both on the Microsoft system and the PlayStation. So you think, if you think about that on AMD's side, right? And how many, if you just look up, hey Cruz, could you just look up how many PlayStations sell every year, real quick? See if you can find that. It doesn't have to be a real number. Just want to get like a general average. And I want to say like the price for the PlayStation, which is kind of crazy too. It's five. I want to say I guess they're pricing it at like $500. So I'm like, damn. You know, like like my perspective on it is that it's equivalent to at minimum a $1,200 computer. So
PS4 sales have been consistently strong throughout the trend, with 19 million sold in 2017 and 17.8 million sold in 2018.
so like 1.2, 1.5 million a month. So yeah, if you look at that, if you just look at those numbers, say if they even sold half of that in 1 year, with how many how
Well,
many
Sony has sold now. They've up as of July 30th, 2019. They had sold 100 million PS4s.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you figure the lifespan of a system is about 5 years. So in 5 years, 100 million. That's gotta do something for AMD.
yeah. I was just looking at. I don't know if any of you guys use FinViz. You guys use that at all?
FinViz.
Now, what is it?
FinViz. FIN. VIS.
Oh, like
VIC.com. It's
No.
it's a free like freaking chart stock market analysis. It's pretty
Yeah.
robust for a free thing. But I was just showing like the forward earnings, and it's kind of like through the roof for AMD.
yeah. I'm just
Well,
like I
yeah,
said,
crazy.
on the consumer side, they're doing way better than they did. Because if you think about it, was a year and a half, 2 years ago, dude, AMD was below $2.
Yeah.
It was doing terrible. And then even with like on the consumer side, right? Like with their I didn't use AMD for my gaming stuff, specifically because they had two major problems early on, or at least when I was building my computers at the time, was that one, they were known to overheat, and then two, they had like issues with reliability. So it was like, so I ended up going with Intel, and then I ended up going with NVIDIA just because, like,
Hey, real quick, I'm gonna interrupt you, Phil. I just took it out of the oven to take a look at the crisp.
yeah, that's fine. Don't worry. It's a cooking show. No.
So this is where we're at right now after 30 minutes. The crisp has some nice browning.
I can't tell from here, but you putting that back in for a couple minutes?
Yeah, I'm going to, because so in the recipe it says what you kind of want to see is on the sides of the pan,
Like a little char.
the sugar is bubbling up off the
Yeah.
side. So I'm just gonna give it another couple minutes. I mean, you could probably stop here, but another 5 minutes.
Cool.
Yeah, my big. I already told you. You already know my big long-term one is
JD.
JD. Yeah,
It's already up to like 50 something bucks.
yeah, it's my big. The only thing I wish is I mean, it's still cheap for what my long-term projection for the company is. Where I think they're gonna be. It's still absurdly cheap right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish I had more to buy in like a couple months ago. Yeah, no. I think, well, they said with being locked down that they had like a huge jump in users, of course.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, once people start using it, you're going to lose a lot, but you're going to get a lot that are going to keep using it now.
Yeah.
So
The habit.
that big surge is huge. That big surge is big for them long term.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. You know what's strange? So like, the other group of friends that play video games and stuff like that. So when I brought up the whole video game stuff and then talked about the investing stuff, it's like nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody
Oh
cared
man.
that I did this analysis of AMD. Nobody cared. You know that like, oh hey, here's a great company, JD.com. If I bring this up in this group, it's like nobody wants to talk about it
I
or
mean, I'm saying 10 years, 5 to 10 years. JD is up. I'm calling at least a 10 bagger minimum
10 baggers.
Wow. All right. I'll look into it.
Dude,
for sure. Yeah,
So is that bit? So I just took a quick look. So that's a Chinese e-commerce company. You're saying it is?
that is the Chinese e-commerce company.
dude,
Okay.
Randall, let's just put this into perspective here. This company has a warehouse in Singapore that runs completely with robots. There is no person at this warehouse.
Wow.
Yeah,
That market cap's pretty ripping.
dude, like the only direction this company has is to go up. Because dude, what they're doing is above and beyond any logistics that's out there. And the difference that what they do is that they don't try to monopolize on gaining territory. What they do is they have contracts with companies like Walmart to do the logistics portion of their warehouse. So they license their technology out. It's a different approach compared to Amazon. But they're
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
Google's got a pretty big vested interest in them, and who else? Does Walmart actually have a ownership portion of them as well?
I don't know if they have an ownership, but if you look at JD.com's videos, they're like, we have partners in around the world, and then it starts showing like all the companies that, like the Walmarts. There, I don't know. They don't show Google. I'll have to send it to you guys so you guys can see it. But they don't just deliberately. You can't just show a company's brand name, say that you're partners with them without getting the rights to do it. There's no way you can do that. So they have to have some type of deal where they're providing some of the IP or they're providing some of the equipment, and then you look at that, you go, they're gonna like they just have such a different approach, but they already have so many things figured out that companies are just trying to get to. They're like years, like Randall, they're years ahead of logistics. Like if you just watch their videos, like, oh, they already have drones that go to remote areas with no addresses.
Wow.
But yeah, like dude,
Yeah, the big thing for them right now is like they're spending a ton of money internally on stuff, and they're not a mature company at all right now. So like the short term, that's going to be up and down. Like that 55 is not going to hold. You're easily going to see 45 again and probably 40 and everything just
All right.
with
I'll,
swings.
I'll slowly accumulate.
But I'm saying 5, 10 years from now, it'll be extremely, extremely large company.
yeah, it's only
I'll just buy one share a week for the next 10 years.
well, it doesn't
You'd be
cost
fine
anything
with
for the
that.
commission, which is good. So you can dollar cost average.
Oh, dude, that's the best part now, man. Zero commission on everything to trade is
That's actually it's complete game changer on that.
Oh yeah,
Getting rid of the commission fees.
oh yeah.
yeah, it's great. I never have to worry about losing money on that. It's great.
So what platform are you on, Randall?
You know, I kind of already forgot why I picked it, but I used I think because I was gonna open a savings account with this company. It's Ally Financials.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it's not like the most robust platform, but I don't need to use much anyways.
They
Because
actually have
usually,
shown up in a few of my screeners to invest in them.
yeah, I mean,
Like,
I can't stop looking at financial stocks, man. They're just like, I don't know. They're so juicy. I mean, it's all value.
They
It's
are
not,
so juicy. Financial stocks are so rough sometimes, though. Like
I know.
the up and down over them. Like you're playing them for like financials. You're really just playing them for the compounding, trying to get in lower and get them to compound and hold them over time because I don't know. They're so. I feel like they're so sideways sometimes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
They can be. I'm just trying to lock
So
down a
solid.
piece of my portfolio for dividends, you know?
yeah, no. I totally understand. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I
was
don't
I
know.
know. I think it was your dad that was a little down on him, but like to me,
which
AT&T, whenever their dividend hits around like 7% or more, like they're a juicy buy. Like,
it's below $30 now. It's a good strike
yeah,
price
so
for
their
him.
div, they didn't drop their div. Their div has stayed where it is.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They're probably at under 30. That's a 7 or so.
Yeah, he has his what is it? So
Yeah,
he has his
yeah.
he has his preferences the same way I do.
Yeah, sure.
but he has, so like if I talk to him about Microsoft, and I like, it's because he's so into the whole Linux thing. Like he just won't even acknowledge. He's like, oh yeah, they're a great company, but yeah, Linux is better.
Done.
Just he'll just dodge it. It's like
Sure.
I could care less if it's Microsoft or Apple, or it's like, do they make money? Do they you know what I mean? But he's been in the game for a while. He's his one of his biggest wins more recently was Red Hat. When IBM bought Red Hat, they made the announcement, and dude, he made a stupid killing. Stupid. It was like he's had the stock for like 20 years, but he had like nothing, and it turned into something really big.
Oh man.
And it was like, I was like, damn, that was shit. Like, I wish I kind of got into it, back in the day, but it was one of those. I mean, it was like a complete change hand over fist, and part of the reason was Red Hat is open source, but their user base was really high. So, when he caught wind of that, because he was into the whole open source thing, he bought someone with whatever he had. So, but even then, it's like, even today, he made a killing, especially when they finalized. So how like they make the announcement to see if there's going to be other bidders.
You get the jump and the short squeeze and everything.
Yeah, so you get the.
Sometimes you can sell before it finalizes and sell for more if that short squeeze pushes it way up.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, I want to say that IBM had a letter of intent. No. Sorry. Let me repeat that. They put a price out to public, like they were going to buy it for whatever amount. So it did jump the price like extremely high. And again, I think it had a lot to do. It had a lot to do with like seeing if there was going to be other buyers or other bidders for Red Hat to come out of the woodwork, and no one else came out there. So that was it.
Yeah, I mean AT&T right now at a 7. I mean, Yahoo is showing them at a 7.35% for dividend, which is actually, they're always a little higher than actual, so it's probably just under 7, I would say, for the actual.
It's 7%.
You can't. There's nothing wrong with that. That's great. That's that's absolutely great. You take that all as a, especially with that, something that it's going to fluctuate, but it's not going anywhere.
That's what I've been trying to get my dad onto, because he just like all of a sudden will be like, oh, I'm gonna buy this and that. And I'm like, I think with you should just play dividends, because I'm just like, once you kind of understood how it works, and then you can just like plop your money there, and if you have a sizable sum on it, you can just let it ride.
Just set it to the drip automatic reinvestment, and then if you want it for one, you stop it and you take some of it, but otherwise just leave it on drip if you don't need it. So you're always getting that average in every quarter, down. But
and on top of the fact that AT&T owns a lot of the infrastructure to provide internet, so it's not like
they own lines. So like you're talking about like, oh, Netflix usage is up and everything, well, like, or even Comcast and this, like, none of it's getting here without AT&T. The fact that they literally own the lines to get it here.
Yeah, why don't people understand that? Like, cord cutting means you still have to have the service.
You still have the cord. They own the cord. Like, you're not getting it here without them. So,
yeah, real quick, I'll show you the last bit here. It's
are we crispy now?
Yeah, we crispy now.
Oh yeah, nice.
I can't. I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Oh yeah, it looks good.
It's so hard to use this camera sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
like
yeah.
the sides were boiling up, so that's perfect. So that was like in total, it cooked for probably about 40 minutes.
That's perfect. Perfect time. So we got apple crisp. We got going to the doctors, talking stocks. I mean, it's a great show. I love it.
What else you guys got on your watch list? Anything interesting?
I got
For watching. No, I mean I'll do my research and everything, but I'm really slow in the long term. So I'm honestly on like a day to day. I'm not super active.
Yeah.
I'm not super active on my researching.
It's one of those
I always
things.
get endorsed.
It's one of those things when you get a good idea, start investigating it. But in the meantime, like it's sometimes the larger risk too is that keeping an eye on it all the time, right? Because a lot of time, the most important thing is like being confident about a choice. Taking as much analysis as you've that you've considered, and then making a choice because it's real money. You put money out there, right? You buy like $2,000-3,000 worth of stuff. It's $2,000-3,000 of your money, so you have to, you want to be comfortable about making choices, but at the same time, right? You also want to find out like what's the next hot thing. And sometimes, like for instance, Zoom went up really really fast. During the whole quarantine thing. So it's right now. It's like to me, it's too late. But do you catch it on the upswing, or do you catch it when it's kind of just flat? You know what I mean? And those types of things are just hard to play. Things like to me like JD.com, AT&T, like to me those are quote unquote what I think are safer bets because, like I said, the outlook for something like AT&T, it's like they're in an industry that's extremely difficult to break into and extremely difficult to get out of. And on top of that, everybody uses their stuff. Like, for instance, the cable, the cable that go from one country to the other is just underwater cable. Most of those are owned either by Google, the AT&Ts, and all these infrastructure companies. So people wonder why their books. Oh, they're spending a lot of money on research and this and that. It's like dude, you're talking about underwater cables that go at the bottom of the ocean, and it's got to withstand. It's got to withstand like
it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. It's got to withstand animals, and then it's got to be able to perform. So it's like, yeah, of course it's gonna like I can only imagine what one length of cable costs at like 100 feet.
Where to run that's insane.
Yeah, like no, it's kind of weird. A lot of people don't know that the internet is actually just cables underwater.
Yeah, right.
And there's there's
back and forth. Yeah, how else does it get? How else do we connect?
It's again, a lot of people don't know that there's like a data center that's kind of like the port where data gets transferred, and it's just essentially it's just a really thick shielded cable, with fiber optics or whatever it is. They have amplifiers that they, however so many lengths to transfer the data and stuff like that. I mean, it's the only reason why I'm able to talk to you guys because of these things. They have it mapped out. Like you can actually see where all the cables are.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on like satellites doing all that stuff in the near future?
Satellites are still too slow.
Yeah.
And they're too expensive for transmission. I'm sure like they'll find a place somewhere.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually, yeah. Once they have a different way of transmitting the data in a different ray format, different wavelengths.
Yeah.
Once that technology needs to progress before it's feasible.
Yeah.
It's crazy how many satellites are going up every day. It's so wild.
Oh yeah. I can send you guys like I gotta look for it again, but it shows real time where all the satellites are.
Yeah.
And there's a shit ton.
Probably not all of them though.
There's a fucking shit ton. Yeah. So I think the technology is good. But you need what do they call it? Not direct view, but direct line of sight with satellite.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't spread
You
the
actually even with one satellite where it is, you can't hit every other location. I forget the minimum, but the minimum's like 4 or 5 or something that you need in order to, and then it obviously depends on like the altitude, the orbit, but then the higher out, the longer the signal and everything too.
Yeah. So I would say like in the future, yeah, definitely it's a definitely valid thing, but for like the now and the near future, I would say like the AT&Ts and the JD.coms and stuff like that is going to be is like their tech is not so far out. I mean, we get into space. I think in our lifetime we're definitely going to be seeing some really cool shit.
Yeah. How about the new Space Force flag?
I didn't see it.
I did not see that. Randall,
I don't know,
where are you getting all this information from?
Who, me?
The dark web.
Oh man.
The other
No,
Randall.
I do follow this one blog. It's really wild. It's called Zero Hedge.
Yeah.
And the guy that like authors most of the stuff, he goes by Tyler Durden.
Nice. I like it.
So
I like
and it's always a lot of weird, like, definitely probably he got it from deep web shit. But it's it's all uses actual references and all that jazz. I mean, the Space Force thing I've been looking at for a minute. But it seems legit this time around because they actually they reorganized a bunch of the Air Force to actually be. So now Space Force is legitimately a branch of the military for the first time.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean,
next frontier.
it sounds really dumb right now until it actually becomes legitimate.
Yeah, I know. It's just funny. I don't know. I mean, how is is it really just a big waste? Or, I mean, is there does it have an actual serve of purpose?
Well, I think so. I mean, it's what is it? Newton's law, like elements can't be created nor destroyed. So we're only consuming more and more of what the earth has to offer. So eventually stuff will run out. I mean, it's going to be in the far-flung future for sure, but eventually the world has to expand outside of Earth.
I just had to dig into aerospace and defense. Just a part of me wants a piece of it for some reason.
Sure. You know, it's funny.
I picked up a little RTX, a little bit.
Oh, okay. I mean, the thing is, Randall, you're not wrong about you've been keeping up with it. So there's definitely the change. I mean, if you think about it, all right, Bezos and Musk are trying to get into space, and I saw an article that China had a successful landing, where they had a space probe with astronauts in it. So it's not what's really strange is it's not science fiction. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, there's definitely movements of getting out to space. Like it might not.
Also, I guess.
Go ahead.
No, I don't know if you guys have known, but it came out a little while, probably end of last year when all the start of Space Force started. I think it's coming out on Netflix. There's a TV series called Space Force coming out with Steve Carell.
Yeah.
You guys gotta watch the trailer. It looks hilarious.
The good.
It's called Space Force, and it's about Space Force. And it's like a comedy with Steve Carell.
So I think to close, I'm gonna stop streaming.
Yeah.
But Randall, could you do a shameless plug about the restaurant for us? Before we finish off here.
Yeah. Shameless plug for the Back Eddy. When we're open, come down here. You'll be able to eat outside, look at the ocean, and eat seafood all day long. On the real though, we've, as a group, we've been talking about being ready to reopen, all the protocols, having all the PPP essentials. I mean, we've been working to get this ready for like 6 weeks now. So when the time comes, we're ready. So people should be more than confident to come in and enjoy themselves here. 100%.
All right, just to give you some information here. We have 11 people watching right now.
Yeah, 11 people.
We actually do have 11 people. Who is watching? Is this just? Did you hire people to watch?
No, my company doesn't have that type of funding to hire people to watch.
Who? All right, Randall. I don't know who's watching. Is Amber watching? Who's watching this?
No, I don't know. I've only mentioned to a couple people a handful of times. I don't know.
It says, okay, Aaron5 asks, what if you don't have a processor? Can you mix with your hands?
Yeah, sure.
The job is to respond to these our grateful viewers. Not even talking to anybody. You're too busy laughing at Randall bringing apple crisp to people's birthday parties.
No, the user that asks, yes, you can do it by hand. It's very similar if you look up making a pie crust by hand. It's the same technique where you add all the ingredients together and you slowly melt. You grab the butter and you smush it, slowly smushing all the sugar and flour together into it. And it'll turn into the same sandy consistency with little chunks of butter. You just got to keep working it. It's a real grandma thing. Like you'd see your grandma, making pie dough. She's just sitting there with the flour and the butter, and you just, in your hands, just bringing it together slowly. And again, that's where the cold butter is really important because obviously your hands are about 98 degrees, so it's going to melt the butter pretty quick. But yes, you can make this topping by hand for sure.
All right, so I apologize, guys, that that there were several viewers watching at the moment. It's the real estate on my screen that there's not enough of, so I have 5 windows open, get everything running. Cruz, you have any closing statements in regards to the Apple Crisp, what you got coming up for next week, and why people should be tuning in?
Apple Crisp is like top 3, one of my desserts. Number 1 is blueberry pie. Like, blueberry pie is my all-time favorite. Next week, I have no idea. I didn't know I'm going next week. You should tune in next week because it's me. But besides that, I don't know exactly what I'm going to be cooking. Randall, what should I make? Give me.
All right, food challenge. Food challenge.
No food. Food challenge is tough. We can set something up.
No, I mean, even like when I was thinking about it the other day, I'm like, well, what's something that I'm so used to having all the tools, the commercial tools.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Something that's available to people at home, So that was like the Apple Crisp thing. It's a straightforward thing. Because, it's hard because like every time I was thinking of stuff, I'm like, oh, wait, you know what? Like I use so many different things people don't have at home just to do this. So even sometimes I'm just trying to think of like, how do I scale the recipe to, you can make things without all the commercial equipment. It's just might be more of a process, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've also been wanting to think about just like doing like just process stuff, basic stuff like how, I don't know, maybe we could do like how to break down a lobster or, how to break down a fish, stuff like that, or shuck. Actually, one I really want to do is shucking oysters, but we haven't been buying oysters for anything. So
Yeah, no, shucking oysters
That's some
there's a
work.
little bit of a technique to that. It's actually it's a little tough.
So there was another question here from Aaron 5. Aaron 5. Will this apple crisp make me a few pennies pincher? So
A few pennies what?
I'm guessing that they were paying attention to our stock talk. So
Oh man, you said what was it again? Aaron what?
hold on.
Yeah, you make your
Aaron 5.
apple crisp at home. Yeah, if you make your apple crisp at home, you save a couple bucks and you can invest in some JD.com.
Oh man. I wonder if that's someone that's is it 2 A's, Aaron?
Aaron.
Do you know this troll? I think
I
you
don't
know
know.
this.
It might be the old chef here. He could be trolling us.
I have no idea who this person is. But we have 8 to 10. We have like roughly 8 to 10 people. There's 10 people watching right now.
Well, that's you, Aaron. What's up, man?
I don't know who
Aaron. We're cooking something next week. Come back.
Yeah.
Come back.
Maybe me and Randall at some point we'll do a collab episode. We'll show up in the same location.
Oh,
that'd be really cool. Hey, you guys.
We can both log in. I can log in from my laptop and yours. We can get the two different camera angles going back and forth.
Ooh,
nice.
That'd be really good. How about if you guys randomly just showed up in Ecuador? You're like, hey, what's up? we're all over here. We're gonna be cooking some food.
That would be pretty good.
I'll just be like, see you later. I'm gonna go to work.
Yeah, like I could sneak up on Randall. If you just saw me randomly pop up and Kuya's stream,
that'd be hilarious.
Running across lockdown state provinces. Yeah, I'm not getting locked up in Ecuador.
Yeah,
because I was breaking curfew, running across borders there.
At least here in Westport, you're literally like 30 seconds from Rhode Island.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
All right, so yeah, everyone tune in next week. We're going to be signing off here. We're going to continue talking. So if you guys like talking about food, like hearing us talk about stocks and technology, because we're obviously into that stuff. We're all investors here.
They don't. It's just week 8 of quarantine, and they're so bored that they're watching us.
We're doing the fun thing. Randall's cooking apple crisp for dude. You guys should be trying to contact Randall and some of this apple crisp.
Hey, I'll be right back. I'm gonna run to the head. I'll be right back.
All right. With that being
Take
said,
care of all the viewers there watching.
All right. This streaming stops.
Don't worry, wash your hands
right now. All right. Thank you guys very much for tuning in.